My name is Grace Thompson, and for as long as I can remember, I have been the one who held my family together. I was the steady hand when everything else was falling apart, the silent worker who made sacrifices no one else seemed to notice. I grew up in a small town outside of Denver, Colorado. My parents weren't wealthy, but they worked hard to give my younger sister Lily and me a decent life. Dad was a mechanic, Mom a school librarian. They loved us both, but there was always an unspoken difference in the way they treated us. Lily was the golden child. She was beautiful, with blonde curls and a smile that charmed everyone she met. She was bold, reckless, and full of dreams that she never had a plan to achieve. And somehow Mom and Dad always adored her for it. I, on the other hand, was the responsible one. Quiet, cautious, practical, I worked part-time jobs in high school, while Lily went out with her friends. I stayed up late studying while she slept in. And whenever she made mistakes, I was the one cleaning them up. And I never complained, because that's what I thought love was. Sacrifice. It was a chilly evening in February when my phone rang. I was just getting home from work, exhausted from a 10-hour shift at the accounting firm where I was an assistant. My body ached, but I still picked up, because I knew that when Lily called, it usually meant trouble. "Grace?" she squealed, her voice bursting with excitement. "You will not believe this. I got accepted into a graduate program in Paris. Paris, Grace, the city of lights, of art, of everything I've ever dreamed about." I sank into my couch, trying to match her enthusiasm. "Wow, Lily, that's huge. Congratulations." But I already knew what was coming. She talked about how incredible the program was, how it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, how she was finally going to live the life she deserved. And then her tone shifted, softening, almost pleading. "The only thing is, the tuition is insane. Plus the housing and the flight and... Grace, you're the only person I can turn to. Please. If I miss this, I'll regret it forever." I stared at the small savings account I had been building for years. $9,200. That money was supposed to be my escape plan. Maybe I'd go back to school myself, or finally move into a nicer apartment. It was the fruit of years of sacrifice, of saying no to vacations, to new clothes, to simple pleasures. And now, Lily was asking me to give it all away. I wanted to say no. For the first time in my life, I wanted to put myself first. But then I remembered the way Lily's voice cracked when she said, "I'll regret it forever." And so, just like I had done 1,000 times before, I pushed my own needs aside. "I'll help you," I whispered. Over the next few weeks, I drained my account. Tuition fees, flight tickets, deposits for her housing, I handled it all. I even bought her a new set of luggage so she could leave in style. At the airport, as Lily hugged me, Mom and Dad stood nearby, their eyes shining with pride. "You're going to do amazing things, honey," Mom told Lily. Dad kissed her forehead. "Make us proud." Not once did they look at me. Not once did they say, "Thank you, Grace, for making this possible." I told myself it didn't matter, that Lily's happiness was enough. But deep down, a small part of me longed to be seen. At first, Lily called me almost every day from Paris. She told me about her classes, her new friends, the cafes she discovered. She never mentioned money. She never talked about paying me back. After a few months, the calls became less frequent. Then came the texts, short and rushed. Eventually, silence. I convinced myself she was just busy. That's what I always did, make excuses for her. Life went on. I worked, I paid bills, I lived quietly. My savings account was gone, but I tried not to think about it. Then, one summer afternoon, I got a text from Mom. "Family dinner at Grandma's on Sunday. Everyone will be there to celebrate Lily's graduation in Paris. You don't need to come. Grace, it's just family." I read it 3 times before it sank in. "You don't need to come, Grace. It's just family." My chest tightened. My vision blurred. I had spent nearly $9,000 to give Lily her dream, and now, I wasn't family enough to celebrate her success. I dropped my phone, shaking. For the first time in my life, I felt truly invisible. All the sacrifices, all the sleepless nights, all the money I gave up, none of it mattered. To them, I was never the star. I was just the shadow. And now, I wasn't even considered part of the family. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the dark ceiling. A storm was building inside me. For years, I had swallowed my pain, told myself my sacrifices were worth it. But this time, something inside me snapped. If they didn't see me as family, then maybe it was time I stopped acting like one, and that decision would change everything. That night after Mom's text, I couldn't sleep. The words kept echoing in my head. You don't need to come, Grace. It's just family. Just family. I had emptied my savings, sacrificed years of effort, and yet, in their eyes, I wasn't family enough to sit at the same table. My whole life, I had accepted being in the shadows, but now, for the first time, I wondered if maybe I had built those shadows myself, by always giving, never demanding, always shrinking so others could shine. Tears slipped down my face, but with them came something else. Anger. Not the soft frustration I usually buried, but a deep, fiery anger, and beneath that anger, a spark of resolve. I picked up my phone and typed a single sentence into the family group chat. Then I silenced my phone. The dinner I skipped. Sunday came. Instead of going to Grandma's, I stayed home. For once, I chose myself. I cooked my favorite meal, opened a bottle of wine, and sat by the window with a book. But even as I tried to relax, my phone buzzed. Messages poured in from Mom, Dad, even Lily. Grace, don't be dramatic. You're making this about you. Why are you ruining Lily's big day? I laughed bitterly. Ruining Lily's day? I had built her day. I had funded it, sacrificed for it, handed it to her on a silver platter. But still, somehow I was the villain. For once I didn't reply. A week later, Lily came back from Paris for a short visit. She showed up at my apartment, all smiles and glamour. She was dressed in designer clothes, her hair perfectly styled. Grace, she exclaimed, throwing her arms around me. I missed you so much. Why weren't you at the dinner? Mom said you refused to come. Do you know how embarrassing that was for me? I pulled away from her hug. For the first time in my life, I didn't melt into her charm. Embarrassing for you, I said, my voice cold. Do you have any idea how humiliating it is to be told by my own mother that I'm not family? She blinked, clearly unprepared for my tone. Mom didn't mean it like that. Didn't mean it? Lily, I gave up my entire savings so you could chase your dream. Do you know how many years I worked for that money? Do you know how many nights I went without just so I could put it away? And in return, what do I get? Silence. Dismissal. A text saying I don't belong. Her face flushed. Grace, I was going to pay you back. Were you? I cut her off. It's been almost a year. Not once have you even mentioned it. Not once have you asked how I'm doing, or if I'm okay after draining my entire savings. Everything is about you, Lily. It always has been. For the first time, Lily didn't have a quick comeback. She just stood there, biting her lip, guilt flickering in her eyes. I took a deep breath. My hands were trembling, but my voice was steady. You know what? Forget the money. Forget everything. Just remember this. There will come a day when you look around and realize that the people who sacrificed the most for you are the ones you took for granted. And by then, it might be too late. Lily's eyes watered, but I didn't let her speak. I walked to the door, opened it, and said softly, Goodbye, Lily. And for the first time in my life, I closed the door first. Weeks passed. At first, my family bombarded me with guilt-filled messages. Grace, you're tearing this family apart. Stop being selfish. But I stayed quiet. I poured myself into my work, took evening walks, and slowly rebuilt my savings account. I started journaling, cooking for myself, even joining a local book club. Little by little, I felt the weight lift from my shoulders. For once, I wasn't living for anyone else. I was living for me. Months later, on a rainy Thursday evening, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Lily standing there drenched, her eyes swollen from crying. Grace, she whispered, I'm sorry. I didn't say anything, so she kept going. I thought Paris was everything I ever wanted, but I was wrong. None of it mattered because I didn't appreciate the person who made it possible. I hurt you. And I let Mom and Dad treat you like you didn't matter. But you do matter. You've always mattered. Tears blurred my vision. For years, I had longed to hear those words. I don't care about the money anymore, I said quietly. What I care about is respect. If you really mean this, Lily, then prove it. Show me with your actions, not just your words. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I will, I promise. The road to healing wasn't instant. Trust once broken doesn't rebuild overnight. But slowly, things began to shift. Mom and Dad eventually realized how deeply they had hurt me. Though their apology was clumsy and late, Lily, however, worked hard to change. She started checking in on me, supporting me, even defending me when our parents slipped back into old habits. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't just the shadow in the background. I was Grace Thompson, my own person, my own worth, no longer defined by sacrifice alone. Looking back, I don't regret helping my sister. Sacrifice is part of who I am, but I do regret staying silent for so long. Because sometimes, the price of being the responsible one isn't just money, it's your identity. And if you're not careful, the people you love the most will convince you that you don't belong in the very family you built with your sacrifices. But not anymore. I belong. Not because they say so, but because I finally believe it myself.